Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So, week 2 of the LEC obviously wrapped up yesterday, and one of the biggest ongoing storylines is G2. You know, they're one of the most popular teams in the world right now, one of the most exciting teams in the world, and Western fans are just really interested to see how this team is going to do every single week, especially coming into this game. They were 4-0. They're talking about potentially going undefeated. Reckless is talking about how this team should go 18-0. They're reminding him of that Fnatic team that went undefeated, all this stuff. But obviously, they were going to be taking on Schalke, who has not looked that great to start the season. Yes, they do have BROKENBLADE, the pride of NA, the pride of TSM coming in. They have Limit coming in as their new support, but so far they haven't looked that great. They are definitely a talented team, but they hadn't been able to show it yet. And G2 so far hadn't looked perfect, but it looked pretty damn good in all of their games coming in. But obviously, Schalke had something to say about that this week, and we know that G2 is one of these teams that they always drop random games. They're always trolling around. So in this video today, we're going to be breaking down just what happened in this game, how Schalke was able to pull off the upset, how they were able to stop G2's undefeated season pretty early on. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you're not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. It's fast, it's free, it's easy, helps you guys stay up to date on all my latest content, and I would appreciate it so much. We're getting closer and closer to 6,300 subscribers. That would be so dope to get to. Also, dropping a like on this video if you do enjoy my content, if you like this video, or if you just want to help support the channel, because it does really help out the YouTube algorithm a ton. Also, my shirt does have a little bit of green at the bottom, so we're cutting in and out of the green screen a little bit, but that's okay. I didn't feel like changing. Hopefully it won't be too big of a deal. With that being said, here we go. I wanted to look at some clips. So first up, an interesting thing here is that we actually have Wunder pulling out the Kled. It is obviously an Aatrox counter pick. He is able to easily apply the grievous wounds on his pull. So, you know, theoretically it should be a pretty nightmare matchup for Aatrox. Aatrox shouldn't be able to get any healing off. Kled should always be able to win in the 1v1. So that was a little bit interesting to see. Also, Reckless on the Senna. This is a pick that I talked about that I really like for G2. Reckless is very good at Senna, and Senna also obviously allows with that cross-map ultimate to set up some of these crazy plays for G2. They're always going for these limit testy plays, for these super aggressive plays, and Senna can back those up from anywhere across the map. So I really like Senna for G2, and I think it's a champion we're going to see them playing a lot of going forward. On the side of Schalke, we're seeing that Udyr once again as well. Also, Schalke has a ton of power picks. I think Rel is really good right now. They got Kai'Sa and Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate's one of the best champions in the game, honestly, and he is a champion that can shut down a lot of the aggression and stuff from G2, obviously, with his cross-map plays. So that should be really interesting. And then, obviously, Gilius going with the Conqueror Udyr as opposed to the Phase Rush Udyr that we've been kind of seeing pretty often. But, man, Udyr, I was not a huge believer in this pick, but he's been dominating. We saw Cloud9 play him a little bit, Team Liquid play him a little bit. Schalke was playing him. It just teams all over the world are playing this pick so much all of a sudden. And honestly, it's looking better and better each game, especially as teams are learning how to play around it and stuff. It's pretty busted. But let's get into some of these clips. At the very beginning of the game, we go and check in with how the top lane matchup's going. Obviously, Wunder gets aggressive on the Aatrox at level 1 because he knows, he should be winning these fights. He is able to get BROKENBLADE's flash just 2 minutes in. So that was a very good start for G2. Very good start for Wunder. A couple minutes later, we see Mickey with the flash in. He's going real deep, but Schalke is able to punish it there. First blood going to the Kai'Sa, and this was kind of the beginning of G2 maybe getting a little over aggressive. Schalke showing that they came to play, that they're ready to punish. A couple minutes later, we see the Rel engage, and Gilius is there. We see the Udyr, being able to punish that Leona with no flash pretty early on. So a great start for Schalke. They are up 2-0 already. But Schalke would have some issues of their own, obviously, in this play here. Abbedagge is going to pull out the Twisted Fate ult. They get really aggressive. Limit goes in with the Rel. Abbedagge thinks they have somebody caught out, but Mickey is able to punish the Twisted Fate ult as soon as he comes out of it. That was great. Yanko picks up a kill, 2-1 on the scoreline now. But yet again, Schalke would be able to rotate over and punish some of the over-aggression. Mickey flashes in there, just goes way deep, and he just overextends and dies, and that was really weird. Mickey, he had a few of these early deaths that were just so weird. He's already 0-3. What are we, 5 minutes into the game? 8 minutes into the game, he's 0-3. I think he has just the one assist. So it was kind of weird. Like, I don't know why these Leonas, I know we saw some of this from Hylissang too, these European Leonas just going so aggressive, going so crazy. And yes, it can work sometimes. Obviously, Leona's great at diving in, laying all her CC, and just locking people down, but I don't know, like on this play, Mickey's team is so far away from him. Maybe he's able to get the Senna ult and maybe be tanky for a little bit longer and his team's able to show up, but I mean, he just went way too early. He also was not tanky at all. Also, the Senna ult didn't even come down in time. It was just kind of a weird play from G2 after they've already gotten punished. Leona's already gotten punished a couple of times. So yeah, it was just kind of funny that, you know, we're making fun of Hylissang for inting and stuff, and then, you know, Mickey's kind of showing some of that himself. The rest of the game, Mickey honestly did have a pretty solid game. He was able to rebound well, but just kind of a slow start where Schalke was just able to continuously punish him over and over again. He did have a nice play on Abadage killing the Twisted Fate. I'm not really sure what Abadage's plan was there. He just kind of just dove way too deep, but it was a nice play. So Schalke would be able to take this early game lead. You know, they're up like 1,000 gold at 8 minutes, which was pretty good. They were able to snowball into a lot of stuff. They ended up getting Baron and everything. They're sieging. This is like 27 minutes into the game at 6-3. You see they already have a 7k gold lead, and then they start trying to siege onto the towers of G2, but G2 wants to put up a line of defense. Mickey goes in on a Broken Blade. He lands his full CC combo, but Broken Blade is able to stay alive somehow. Limit goes in with the Rel ultimate, able to land a huge ult, and then Schalke really just starts picking apart G2, and then with the Baron, they're able to crack the base at around 28 minutes in, and this is starting to look really scary for G2. You know, you never want to count them out. They're always this team that makes insane plays, insane comebacks, but I mean, this one is not looking good. You can see here, Kai'Sa 3-0, Udyr 2-1-3, Rel 0-1-5. A really great game from Limit on the Rel. I mean, this champion, when someone plays it effectively, it looks so strong. We've seen some people, you know, play it pretty terrible, maybe not even know exactly what the champion does, but I do think Rel looks really good. And then at this point, you see with the 0-4 from Mickey, Wonder not really doing much with that Kled counter pick in the top lane. But then a little bit later into the game, this is 28.5 minutes. The Baron is about to run out for Schalke. G2 kind of trying to make their last play. They think they have Broken Blade caught out here. Wonder goes aggressive onto him. Unfortunately, Broken Blade is able to get aggressive. He is able to land the pullback onto Jankos. He's able to get a kill there in the 2v1. Mickey's coming up now to make it a 3v1, but Abadage is there to kind of thwart him off. And yeah, I mean, that was the story of this one. Broken Blade coming up big. Just a lot of guys on Schalke played extremely well. You know, Limit had an insane game on the Rel. Gilius did great on the Udyr, and Broken Blade on the A-Track. He didn't play perfectly, but he was annoying enough, especially in a really terrible matchup, and I thought that was really impressive for Broken Blade, who honestly hasn't had the best start to the season, to step up big against Wonder in a counter pick and have a great game and help Schalke be able to pull off this win. When we take a look at the final stats and everything, we will see in the end, you know, Broken Blade 3-1-4 on the Aatrox, Gillies 2-1-4 on the Udyr. I really think this Udyr pick, it's not going away anytime soon. They're going to have to nerf the items, nerf the champion, something. I mean, all the movement speed items get him just going so fast, so annoying. He gets so tanky. He can do so much damage. You get the phase rush, even extra damage. Gilius did the Conqueror, makes him a little bit more unkillable. And then on the side of G2, just a lot of the weird stuff. Again, Mickey ends up with the 0-7 on Leona. Rough game for him. Reckless on the Senna, wasn't able to do much of anything. Wonder the 0-1-3 on the Kled counter pick. Kind of disappointing. They really didn't get much out of that Kled pick, even though I'm sure they, you know, expect a lot of it, because it is supposed to do obviously really well into that Aatrox. But when we take a look at the LEC standings, you will now see Rogue is alone at the top. Maybe we can zoom in a little bit on this. Rogue is alone at the top at 5-0. G2 falls to 4-1. Their undefeated season is over just 5 games in. Not really what they're expecting, but again, regular season does not matter at all. This is a team built for the playoffs, and not even that. They're built for MSI. They're built for Worlds. Obviously, they'll need to make it to MSI, make it to Worlds. Some people, I think, are starting to overreact to Rogue a little bit, saying that Rogue will be able to stand up to G2. If they are able to, good for them, but I'm not to that point yet. I think Rogue is proving themselves to be a serious threat, and maybe being that legitimate number 2 team that you really need to be worrying about in the LEC and in Europe. But again, until we see Rogue play against G2, and even after that game, it won't really matter until we see Rogue, you know, taking down G2 in the playoffs or going and doing something at Worlds. Like, that's really going to be the only thing that matters to most people. Yeah, LEC titles are great, or LEC performances or whatever, regular season, you know, finishing as a 1 seed, that's all awesome, but the regular seasons only matter so much. You don't want to overreact too much to anything. But obviously, you do want to see your teams playing well. I mean, I'm just not going to overreact to Rogue winning a couple games and G2 losing one game. But when we take a look at the rest of the standings, obviously now you see the big thing is that Fnatic outside the top 4 all of a sudden. They're down to tied for 5th with Misfits and SK and Excel, because Schalke has now jumped above them. That loss to Mad Lions puts them above them. So a lot of interesting things going on in Europe right now. G2 losing a game, Fnatic losing a game, Rogue staying undefeated. The standings are really just all over the place, and it's going to make for a really exciting and interesting season to see how over the rest of the season how Fnatic is able to bounce back, see what teams are legit, what teams are not, because these standings are going to shake out so much, because like we've seen already, Fnatic beat Schalke, then Schalke beat G2, so there's all different kinds of crazy things. Again, G2 did not look great in this game. I think Schalke did have a ton of power picks. I think they played extremely well. I thought G2, tried something different. Obviously, going for Kled in the top lane, that's something that we don't really see very often, and something that I would assume they have not practiced a ton. And still, I think if Mickey could have maybe had a little less, a few less of those deaths in the early game where we were just questioning what exactly was going on. Again, we don't really know. Was it a call for him to do that? Did he do that on his own? Did was there miscommunication or something like that? I think a few of those plays he was just going a little bit too deep. But then obviously we saw plenty of other plays where Schalke just played really well, honestly, to punish them. And I do think this was a case of Schalke just having a good game, where they were probably underperforming in the earlier games, like where they lost to Fnatic. I did think that was a little bit of Schalke underperforming. I don't expect them to be a top team in the LEC or anything like that. Right now they're tied for 3rd. I don't think they'll finish that. I think Fnatic still has a chance to pass them. I think Mad Lions still could be better than them. Misfits is maybe a team that I think is close to Schalke's level. I think they'll start to kind of end up in the same place. But it was good to see a nice game from BROKENBLADE. It was good to see a nice game from Limit, because they have not had the hottest starts of the season. And if they can continue to play at that level, this Schalke team can be very scary. Obviously, we saw what they were able to do last year, even though they ended up coming up a little bit short in the playoffs. But this is a different team. It's a new year. The LEC is looking a little bit different. But man, this league is going to be a ton of fun to watch the rest of the season, because those teams at the top are pretty close. Those teams in the middle of the pack are pretty close. And it's going to be fun to watch these standings and everything all play out over the course of the season. But G2 goes down. Schalke pulls off the big upset in one of the best and most exciting games of the weekend. It was a ton of fun, and I'm sure it's going to be something that people are talking about. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. It helps me out so much with the YouTube algorithm, and I would appreciate it a ton. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this game? Do you think Schalke is looking legit? Do you think they're going to be a good team now? Do you think G2 just trolled? Do you think they underperformed? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on anything we talked about in today's video. Subscribe, stay updated on my latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.